You live in a world of shadow and illusion.
From this wider perspective, so much of what we do to each other must have the rest of creation shaking their heads in disbelief.
It's on TV.
All the news
It's on TV. So it must be right.
If we, as humanity's last hope, simply sit back and believe whatever is put in front of us, well, I'm afraid.
This is the way the world ends.
It's on TV.
Все в новостях вранье.
No one can tell you what truth is. You must find it for yourself, and it is only then you will be truly free.
Hello, and welcome to the orientation of Area 154. This is going to be a chemical learning environment unlike anything you have ever seen. This orientation is designed to do several things. One, give you an orientation to the website and the online learning environment that is unique to this classroom. Two, design the expectations so that you understand what it is that the students are going to be getting into and experiencing. And three, to highlight some of the unique aspects of this learning environment, such as the agent achievement system. This is no ordinary place. This is no ordinary chemistry class. The chemistry that is going to be taught in this class is going to be unique in the sense that it's not chemistry as usual. This is going to demand an extra degree of problem solving from your students that they may have not ever seen before. The place where all of this will be going down is a website designed by me called mesascientific.org. Each student has access to this site, and if you'd like, you can right now, either on a computer or mobile device, bring this website onto your device. This is what the website looks like on the front end. This is a close-up view of the menu. This is traditionally where you would begin, especially if you don't have a username and login created in the system already. What you'll do here is you'll fill out this section. Now, the username and password have a very specific format, and that format follows the class that they're in. So say, for example, they were in 7th period. Dash their first name. Dash the last name. Parents are welcome to log in too, create a username and password, and they too can even partake in all of the cases and trainings that we're providing to the students here at Mesa High School. Once you've put in your username in the correct format, and then you've put in the email address you wish to be sent email updates, results for quizzes, even perhaps updates on your agent status and your achievement points. You'll also want to pick a password that you've used before, something that's common and it's not easily forgettable. Now, once you've logged in, you've gone through the whole process, you can click on where it says howdy, and then it has your username. Now once you've done that, and here's a close-up shot of it, you will have a chance to move into the profile section. Each student has a section that is specifically allocated for them. Now again, just to make sure that we've all done this correctly, let's make sure that the username has a very specific format, and I want to make sure that this is focused on because it's very important for the database to be able to search and find specific classes by their period number. Once into the website and you've logged in and you've entered into a course, you'll have two things to watch. You have, first off, courses that are active. These are courses that are enrolled in but are not completed. And then completed courses. Completed courses are any course that happens to be done to 100% completion. That simply means that the students scored 80% or higher on what are called CTRs. CTRs stand for Certification Test Requirement. And the bar for passing was set at 80%. Now 80% sounds pretty high. However, the students have as many times as they want to learn from their mistakes to try and make sure that they can pass it at 80%, which is the minimum passing percentage. Now they don't have forever to take it. They have up to 7 days past the first day they take the CTR to take it. After 7 days, the scores after that, any percentage achieved after those 7 days, is not put into ABI. You can, however, continue to take the test if you're really looking forward to getting the extra achievement points for 100% on CTRs. There's the icon, and I gotta tell you, I'm a big fan of the progress bar. It's kind of always nice to see where you stand. Once logged into any particular case, you'll show the case, title, and then you'll notice that there are some trainings and what are lessons, essentially, on in a row here. Now, these are organized from the bottom up. So training number 1 is actually down there. And once training number 1 is completed, you can move on to training 2, then training 3, to ultimately get to this. This is the case file analysis. And at the end of all the trainings, the students are given a case file that is reflective of something that has been a major event in American or international history. For example, this case number 081914-1, codenamed Shadowgate, is an investigation into what really happened into flight MH370. There's a lot of enigmas behind this particular flight, and depending upon your idea or your perspective on conspiracy theories, whether they're a big deal or whether they're not, they do one thing really well. They force you to think. And so in this particular case, which centers around measurements and conversions and unit analysis and the comparison of units to be able to configure and calculate distances and rates, this particular case is a perfect opportunity to be able to put those skills to the test. And just to reinforce that, something else you might want to be aware of, this is a calendar that shows up on all of the pages once the students log in. Some of these may end up a little darker than the others. That means that something has been posted on those dates. Every 2 days, the website will be updated on the most recent happenings in the class, things that needed to be done, things that were due for homework, projects that were coming up, case file progress. And so if the students see that there's a dark number on here, they can click it to see if there was anything that they missed on those particular days. This calendar shows up on all of the web pages. Also, too, the agent achievements, which we'll get into later, everyone who's logged into the site is listed here as a participant. However, this area is a little bit more special because it talks about the top agents in the AREA154 program. This is what the individual trainings look like. You'll notice that you've got a title, a description of that particular case and the skills involved in the case, the specific skills of this training, and then under where it says lesson media, this is where you would derive the PDF. It's a downloadable document that can be downloaded on any computer, netbook, iPad, or smartphone. And the students will get this information and then use it as the base from which they would learn the training and the skills and the concepts to be able to then address the case file when that time comes. In order to pass the unit or this particular training, you have to be able to pass the CTR. That's the button to the quiz. So once you've done the training and you're all finished and everything's been signed off, you can click on that button and it takes you to the CTR. This is an example of what the PDFs would look like. Now, I kind of like the PDF format because it enables me, as a person who has a keen eye and a passion for designing documents. I know it may sound a little ridiculous, but this design format and be able to deliver information in a way that enhances the experience and the interaction between the user or the learner and the person trying to communicate the content. Now, this happens to be training 2 in our Area 154 investigation of MH Flight 370. And you'll notice that we have specific skill sets, and these skill sets are labeled in sections. There's section 1, or section 2. There's the course title. And the skill trainings take place in these big white boxes. Now, there will be some instruction given in class, obviously, but if the students need more instruction or more explanation, there are video links that are connected to this PDF, and it's an interactive document. So if you click on the PDF and click on the video area, a video pops up to then further describe how to do the work that's located inside that section. You'll notice that there's a video link there as well. Just like that. The section numbers are listed here, and you also notice that there's a white letters that call CTR, and there's a little one that looks like a U. Well, that CTR means this is content that has to be covered on the CTR test, and the U means that it's uploaded to the blog. Why? Because it's graded. This is a system that I'm teaching them how to use so that they will never have a lost paper again. Now, the students have been given Area 154 training notebooks, which were bought, built, and provided by Mr. Temple. And he has provided them this opportunity to have all of their work located in one place so that when they bring it up and have it checked and signed off, and so if they bring up the work, let's say they're working on this section here, and they bring it up and I check through all of the questions and I provide a little signature. That signature equals 10 points of classroom work. And so at the end of the case, I bring the notebooks up, I count up all the signatures, and if they have all the signatures, then they get all the points. It's pretty straightforward. This is something that is very new, and unlike any academic learning environment you're probably going to see, at least in the near future. This is the Achievement Ops. Now, Achievement Ops have nothing to do with the grade. This is not connected to ABI. This is strictly just for fun. These are little operations that are connected to the case or connected to the skills that are being taught in that particular training. In this particular achievement, called Treasure Island, it requires the students to carry out an analysis of the current speeds and to see if the current was actually fast enough to deliver that flaperon to Reunion Island in the time that they suggested, given the place where they suggested the plane went down. If they can do that, there's 25 points that they can add to their agent profile. When you're ready to take the CTR, all you have to do is click that link right there, and it takes you back to the site so that you can take the test. So you notice the PDFs are pretty complicated things, and they're designed to make the user and learning experience much more streamlined. So there's this thing, this achievements thing. And a lot of the students were like, what? I've never heard anything like this before. Well, achievements are pretty much what they sound like. They're taken from the video game world to apply to additional, well, in the video game community, they use it for to increase the playability of the game. Once you've gone through the storyline and the main line of the game and you've finished the game, achievements allow the students or the gamers to be able to re-engage the content to enhance the playing experience. Well, in this case, it's designed to enhance the learning experience. And then at this point, there's lots of different kinds of achievements and more being applied every day. There's some standards here that happen in every single case. For example, every achievement that has these olive branches, like here, here, and here, these are olive branches that are 100% achievements on quizzes. This one here, put your hands in the air achievement. That means that they participated in class. This one here, anytime you get all the trainings passed and you finish the case, you get a case closed achievement. Those are worth 10 points. This one here, the graffiti achievement, if you're a parent listening, you might want to hit the mute button, because this one involves doing some mad chemistry on a bathroom mirror or sliding glass door using a dry erase marker. They take a picture of it, load it to the blog, and then they quote the first thing that their parents say and post it to the site. That's a pretty valuable graffiti achievement because not everybody does it. And some of the kids, well, let's just say they worked hard for those achievement points. Now, those achievement points are applied to each student's user profile. So as they log in, they will see how many points they have. They'll see icons for each of the achievements that they have. And throughout the year, there'll be dozens and dozens and dozens of different achievements. And it doesn't just stop here. There's an agent ranking system that exists in the class. And all of the students are going to be given ID badges. I'm going to make them ID badges, each one with their picture on it to identify them, an interior ranking system that will allow the students to see what happens as they increase their point value. And as they increase their point value, their rank can change. Now, this is a special agent access badge. This is the second badge of the series. They're going to have a first one when they first start out. And once they reach 300 points, then they'll get promoted to the new badge. Now, on every series of badges, you'll notice there's a series of 3 boxes here. And every 100-point interval, there's a gold leaf marker that goes in and colors in the box to show them that they're making progress. Now, in this case, the special agent badge also comes with a whole bunch of additional nifty privileges. For example, normal agents have to report to the classroom and sit in their assigned seat. These guys do not. There are some very comfortable bouncy chairs in the back of the room that people are just dying to sit in because the stools make everybody's butt unhappy. So there's a lot of, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, there's a lot of different additional privileges that students get to enjoy as they prove that they can reach beyond the curriculum and take on some of these extra challenges and show that they're dedicated to excellence by getting 100% on CTRs. Talked about the achievement boxes. Each student will get a call sign or a nickname of their own choosing, or I might be able to creatively come up with one of my own. Now this thing here, the QR code, is kind of a different ballgame. Remember earlier I talked about a blog, that the students would upload their pictures of their work to the blog. That QR code allows me to take their access badge, scan it, and go right to their blog and analyze their work. In case that notebook they have disappears, the blog acts as a work backup. During the first semester, they are mandated to be able to do this. During the second semester, it is their choice to continue if they so choose. But when I asked them how many students had experienced the maddening frustration of turning in something and then having the teacher say, well, you never turned it in, and its burden is on you to be able to prove it, even though they never pass back the work. So this is a way that they could be taught how to protect themselves and watch out for their own work. And it makes it easy for me because all I have to do to get access to it is scan their access badge. This badge hangs up in the front of the classroom. It never really goes home. And it's kept here for purposes of attendance, so that I have to just look up there, see whose badge is still hanging, and be able to use that as my way to take roll. There are several different ways for the communication can exist between myself and the students or the parents. This is a way for students or parents to be able to get involved with the remind system so that any bulk messages that I need to communicate to the students or the parents can be done through this system. Simply text that number and put in that message, and you're enrolled. It's a pretty straightforward system. The schools have been using it for years. This is an example of how, in a technical environment, you really want to give the kids the opportunity to ask questions. And I give them my personal cell phone number to use. I have, and people think I'm crazy for doing this, but I have never, not yet, had anyone abuse this. People use it for asking questions about technical issues with their phone, or technical issues with the site, or things that they're stuck on, or say, for example, they had a complication to where they couldn't finish the work. Well, this gives them an opportunity to prove the responsibility to call and communicate with me so that I can work with them. This is designed to ease the burden of the parents so that the kids always have somebody to contact in case there's a question. Well, at least with my class. So feel free to text that number. I don't really respond to phone calls all that often, so texting is probably your very best option. Now, also on the site, on every case, every case training, there's this blog response unit. Now this area here is designed for the students to communicate with other students. I don't really check this all this often, and I wanted to have a system for everybody within Area 154, depending on, or actually regardless of what class they were in, be able to talk to each other and be able to ask questions. How did this work? How did that work? Did anybody get an answer for this one? I want to be able to open the opportunity for kids to collaborate, because that is one of the skills that the Common Core wants to foster. Collaboration, the ability for students to relay information and work together. It's funny how schools look at this, and in the past they call it cheating. In the real world they call it synergy, collaboration. So the site posts are specifically designed for students to be able to talk to other students, to ask for help, or get guidance or share information. Now the gadgets in the class, personal devices that are encouraged to be used inside the class could range from smartphones, to iPads, tablets, laptops, netbooks. There's all kinds of different ways that kids can use to be able to get the information or download the PDFs, to interact with them, to be able to understand the content and be able to complete the trainings. Now, most people operate in the smartphone zone. However, my preference is the iPad. For more information about how the iPad could be the last school supply you ever buy your kids, or if you're listening, how to get your parents to buy you an iPad as the last school supply you'll ever own, please feel free to contact Mr. Temple. He'd be happy to explain in vast detail how the iPad can transform your school experience. Tablets other than iPads are okay. They're decent, but they can't offer the same level of complexity and encompass the same quantity of skills that the iPad can, but they're not bad for internet browsing, downloading stuff. Laptops, still not bad, not a bad option. You can do everything in the class that you need to on the laptop. Netbooks, just sort of like junior version of laptops, so these are acceptable as well. These are just some calculations and some apps that you might be interested in getting. PDF reader, because all of the trainings are in PDF. Calculator is going to be important because we're going to be doing tank loads math. The Blogger app is going to be important, especially during the first semester, because that is where they're going to be storing their work online. And the Google Earth app is important, well, largely because they're going to need it for the first case. They've got a plane to find. But important note, first off, the school has a policy, a school-wide policy, that they cannot have their phones out. Well, I've negotiated with the school administration to tell them that I have their phones out, and their phones are busy all the time doing things like downloading content. But that privilege can be abused. Now, the first time they abuse it, and I know they're kids, they're going to make mistakes, but we have to draw the fences around here and decide the expectations and the borders with which we want them to perform within. So if they abuse it, start playing games, checking social media, things that they're not supposed to be doing, and I happen to catch it, they will be reduced in agent achievement points by 20. And there's no explanation. They can argue their point, and I'd be happy to hear it, but that's the case. If there's a second time, the second time is the removal from the case. They'll be placed on bookwork until further notice or until the case changes, and deducted 25 more achievement points. This is a drastic thing, and I anticipate after this, there won't be a third time. That about does it. My name is Mr. Temple, and I've designed a very, very engaging and unique prototype learning system that I hope that your students will really get something out of. Something that they may take home, throw on the dinner table and say, guess what we learned how to do today. My name is Tori Temple. I'm here if you need me.